This episode is full of puns as we're talking with the Goodwood guys. Learn all about this urban sawmill and why you should add it to your Great Falls itinerary. Coming up on this episode of We're No Damn Experts.
Best damn podcast, the best damn town. You wanna get up, get ready to get down. With its big wide sky and the wild river Thames, if you wanna go, we can take you there to Great Falls, Montana.
Welcome to the greatest damn town in Montana, Great Falls. I'm Rebecca Ingham.
I'm Shannon Newth.
And we're No Damn Experts. Today, Shannon, I don't know if you understand how long this episode has been in the making.
You've been just giddy about this for so long.
A year and a half at least, if not longer, because I think that's since we started the podcast.
Uh-huh.
But with us in the studio today, people who make things in Great Falls, part of our Makers series. Mm-hmm. They have amazing products. I'm going to leave all the puns for them to do.
Good. Yeah, fair.
And a lot of non-traditional products inside their store. Great story. Varied history. With us in the studio today is Chris and Susan Crocker with the Goodwood guys here in Great Falls, Montana, finally in our podcast studio.
Yay. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I'll be here all week.
No, I think you only get an hour, honey.
You get this time, but then it lives in infamy forever in podcast land.
Perfect.
So let's start with the story of how you came to this point. Are you Great Falls people? How long you been in Great Falls?
How'd you meet?
Yeah.
All
Like,
the
what's your
things.
love story?
We
And
love
then
wood.
when you
Sordid
started the wood. Yeah.
We
all
love
the
wood.
all the details.
Well, we are not from Great Falls, either of us. We met here. We kind of talk about how we met in the middle. Chris is from Oregon.
Oh.
I'm from Fargo.
Oh.
And we both came here for different reasons, but we ended up meeting in Great Falls. And we loved it and stayed here, in part because I wouldn't move to Oregon and he wouldn't move to Fargo.
Yeah.
But
So we're like,
mostly
okay.
because we really do love the town.
And you've been here how long now?
25, 6 years, something like that.
Oh.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
I think it's longer than
Oh,
that.
no. Oh, in Great Falls.
Yeah, we've been married
specifically.
25
Yeah.
years.
I
Holy
would say
moly.
90. It's been 30 years.
Yeah, we don't know.
30-some years.
That's a long time.
Few decades. Yeah. Okay.
And how long have you had the Goodwood guys?
10 years. We're celebrating our 10-year
Oh.
anniversary this year.
Yay.
So, yeah,
Congratulations.
we're pretty
We
excited.
started in a warehouse, actually, just not very far from where we're sitting right now. It's
Down
just
by the river.
Down by the river in a van.
Where all
That
the
was
things
such a good
start.
turning
Yeah.
point in your marriage, right? You're like, hey, honey, I want to be partners in life and in business. Do you
Yeah.
want to go be in a warehouse?
Down
Down
Down by the
river.
river with just a bunch of wood.
We didn't even have electricity in that thing when we started.
Wow. How? Well, we'll get there.
That's another story. We'll get to
We
that
weren't
one.
there very long.
We weren't there very long.
So what was life like before the Goodwood guys? What'd you do for fun? And
Work, money.
It depends
life
on how
for
long
money,
we have
yeah.
to go back. But I don't think we can go back that far. But most recently, prior to that, was teaching.
Oh.
Teaching full-time right here in Great Falls.
and both of you were teachers, and one of you still is.
One of us still was until 2 days ago.
Did someone
end of the
retire?
school year. Okay.
So-
Holy moly.
Well, yeah. So we were both full-time at Great Falls High for forever. And I taught science and Susan English.
Okay.
I finished up last year, and Chris just finished his last year this year. So
Wow. How you feeling? Has
happy?
it sunk in
No.
yet?
Well, it's happy sad.
No,
I went.
Yeah.
it's
So
a little bittersweet.
It's a bittersweet scenario, but it was. I've only been doing one class a day for 10 years that I've been doing that. I left full time to start the store
Ah.
and kept one. Well, wanted me to come back and teach one class. So I did that, and I've been doing that ever since. And so was my last year.
Were either one of you asked to teach wood shop?
No,
That seems silly.
chemistry.
Okay.
Chemistry. I don't think I could.
Okay.
I can't handle watching somebody using a table saw, for example, or any tool. If I'm not confident that they're not going to cut their finger off, I can't imagine.
That's why
a bunch
you teach them.
I think I'd freak out.
Yeah. Funny.
Or just step in and go, just let me do this. Stop doing what you're doing.
He has taught a lot of classes at the store to a lot of people, and he's a very good wood shop teacher too. But
just not to high school students.
We've done classes through MSU Lifelong Learning Program, which I don't think they're doing now. But,
no, unfortunately not.
But it's we did that for a number of years. But.
You also do classes on your own, not through lifelong learning or demonstrations, if you will, still, right?
Yeah, we do different series of things. I don't have anything on the schedule right now. We're trying to go through kind of a renovation at the store, so we're redoing a bunch of stuff this summer, and we're trying to make everything more shoppable. Wood is heavy and hard to move. So
it's okay to stay obvious on this podcast.
So we've been trying. Every year we try to make an improvement, and this year we are doing some. We're going to do some really big things to try to make slab shopping a little easier.
Slab shopping is difficult. People want to come in and buy a slab for something, and it's in a stack like this of 10 slabs. It's kind of hard to see the middle one.
Let's talk about this for people who aren't familiar with
what we're talking about.
Wood buying. Because honestly, I would say the primary purpose of the Good Wood Guys is for people to come in and buy wood. But you also have some finished products in the store for people who aren't woodworkers to come in and go, oh, I like this piece of wood and I'm going to use it for whatever reason because it's a completed project.
We do, yes. Yes
really
and
close
yes
to
to
a joke,
that.
Rebecca.
Yeah.
It's really close.
Dancing around it.
I'm leaving it all for you guys.
Yeah.
So talk to us about who your customers are. Like what is the deal with random people who walk in to buy wood?
We love random people who
random
walk
people.
in to buy wood. And
Great.
and we actually, this is one of my favorite times of year because we love tourists. And I know that sounds crazy because when I first started talking to someone and I was like, well, one of our markets will be the people that come to Great Falls, they were like, you're crazy.
Why?
Yeah, why would anyone go to a wood shop? And I'm like, you don't understand. People who love wood seek out places to buy wood. And they really do. We get people from all over the country who make special trips. We have one guy from Alaska who comes through on his way. And he stops every summer and he buys wood. And, we get people from all over. The biggest thing is people who are flying have to find pieces that fit in their suitcase.
Yeah, that's a little more challenging.
And we have pieces that fit in suitcases. So
it's a special category.
This is a suitcase.
Here's your suitcase wood.
Carry-on size.
This is your checked luggage. This is your carry-on. Here are the sizes.
You have one of the measurement things at the front of the store. Yeah.
Well, and it's if you love wood, if you love working with wood, you appreciate finding things that have different grains and different patterns. And we're an urban sawmill, so we mill a lot of domestic stuff that's local. And local woods vary from region to region. And so it really is, we're a place you can come and you can find unique, one-of-a-kind things. So that guy from Arizona can go home and brag to his friends that he got some nice ash when he was up in Great Falls, I mean, it's something
nice ash.
You can't get nice ash in Arizona. You
We have
just
a nice
can't.
ash on our table right now.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
We do. So I mean, it's that's one of the things. And then, like Rebecca was saying, we also have people who don't want to build anything out of wood. They just love wood. And so we have finished products that they can come in and buy, smalls, gift items. One of our big things this summer is weddings. I mean, there's always weddings. And so we have all sorts of heart-shaped wood, and we have a cool little laser engraver, and we can put people's initials and their wedding dates and things on them. So unique gift ideas too. And
We do a lot of custom build. That's probably the larger portion of it, what we actually do. You want a new table or all your countertops done in your house out of wood. We do that. And so a portion of our customers who come in are asking for that. And so they're not just looking for the wood, they're looking for us to create this
Piece of masterpiece.
something, right? Masterpiece, this heirloom thing.
Can we go back for a minute?
No.
Why?
we can go anywhere you want to go.
I'm not talking to you. Why wood? Like, how did you guys get into
So
this?
let's go back. We digressed to what we should have been talking about. We started.
That was Rebecca led you down that path.
Well,
so.
we were. I've been in construction and things other than teaching prior to this. So building things was kind of what we do. So we ended up buying a house together as when we got married and needed some woodworking done, and trying to find particular hardwoods or things that you want was very difficult. So we ran into this guy from Illinois, had an ad in the paper, and if you knew who he was, he would come with a truck and a trailer full of wood, and he actually lived in Shodo. His son still lives there. And he would bring this wood. It'd be cherry or walnut or oak, whatever it happened to be, and you could make an appointment with him and go buy wood out of his garage up in Shodo.
I mean, it doesn't sound sketchy at all. I don't know.
It doesn't sound strange.
So it got really
perfect
weird.
business model.
you are a wood person, you totally get it.
So he took.
Meet me in this alley.
Yeah.
I'll show you my wood.
Interesting
Only in
though, there's a lot of places that do that. That's another story. But so he would. We got to know him, and over the years it was, hey, I'm coming to Great Falls in June. What do you need? And you say, well, I want 200 board feet of cherry. Please have that ready. So he would have it. And so it got to the point to where he got more and more people who wanted wood from him. So
he only came during the summer.
So he'd only come in the summer.
He'd come once or twice in the summer, and nobody.
So he decided to
asked
buy a
us-
semi-truck and say, if I brought a semi-truck load out and we found a warehouse, would you sell the wood to the people when they called? And we said, sure.
That's kind of a big ask, though. Like, hey, will you just suddenly sell them?
Facebook Marketplace.
Right.
Wood.
This was prior
Facebook
to any of that
Marketplace
stuff,
wasn't
you know.
a thing then.
Internet, it wasn't a thing. Facebook, I think it was still MySpace back then, but, or whatever that's called.
You're right.
Anyway, so so we decided, let's do this, and then we'd make a little money selling the wood for him.
Because we were teachers.
We were teachers,
are
and it was
like
like it'd be
any
a little
extra
what they
income.
call us.
Making tons
They
of
call
money
it a
as a
side
teacher.
hustle now, or whatever it was then. But so the warehouse we ended up finding was literally right over here on
Nobody can see you pointing.
lower. Oh, sorry, I'm pointing to the river.
We'll help you.
Past the water treatment plant, just about a mile. There's a little warehouse complex right on the bend right there.
Okay.
And so we rented a space there. No electricity or anything, but enough space you could put a couple semi-loads worth of lumber into it.
You had to take every board off
One
the
by
semi
one.
at a time.
Oh my God.
One by
And you
one
had
and
to
haul
load
them
them
through
up
the
for
doors.
people one at a time. You would think I would be in the best shape.
I was like, that's a lot of
So it
work.
started by doing this. So we filled this warehouse up, and then Susan said, well, you should make some flyers. And so she created these flyers, and we put them up around town at the
Come
Pro
look
Build
at
and
my
stuff.
wood.
We should
I
let
want to come
people
see my
know about
hardwood.
this.
Well,
Yeah.
we got to go to a dark warehouse for that.
Bring your own flashlight.
So many marketing opportunities here. Yeah.
So then we quickly realized that Great Falls had a pretty good
An affinity for some good wood.
right? And so I had a shop set up at home with basic woodworking tools. People said, "Well, can you plane all these boards for me? Can you do this?" And can you glue these together and build me a tabletop? Sure, So that's how it started. So we'd sell somebody something here, then I bring it over to my
It didn't
garage.
take us very many months of doing
It's about
that to
6
decide
months.
that we needed to be legitimate. Just,
You mean get power to your warehouse?
Though I looked at Chris, I said, we need a building and we need like a place to do this because meeting people down by the river just sounds wrong. And
an
especially
unlit
when you're
warehouse.
selling hardwood.
Yeah.
So we met Wade Hodges and bought his buildings over on 8th North. So amazing guy. Miss him.
Yeah.
he would stop in at least once a week
was
to
a
check
great
on our
mentor.
progress.
My mom got to know him and worked with him when the Habitat Restore was there.
Sure.
My mom volunteered there for a while and
Right.
knew way
This was
before
just
it turned
before we
into
bought 'em, yeah.
before
Yeah.
it turned into your
Yeah.
shop. Yeah.
So that location actually led to this secondary partnership of your treat that you brought us on top of your ash.
Oh yeah, right. So you should see what is sitting on my ash right now.
I
So
didn't
not-
think I would be drinking a product made at a wood shop.
So right next door to our buildings is the warehouse and main supply center for Morning Light Coffee. And Mike Myers, awesome. If you should have him on a podcast one
there
of
you
these
go.
days. He will tell you about creating the coffee
great
market
idea.
in Montana. He started that in the 80s. And
I think
the first roaster in Montana.
Oh.
So it
He
would be
was.
an interesting story.
Yeah.
So I met Mike there, and
And I'll interject for a second. You can tell the
Ukulele.
fun part of this. Mike Myers, who has this coffee shop, he used to be a tree trimmer.
yeah.
And
So we got the wood connection. Yeah.
So he came over to see what we were doing, and he was intrigued because he used to cut trees down. So anyhow, go ahead.
So he was. When we first bought the buildings, I could hear somebody singing, and I hear a ukulele playing. And I'm like, what's going on here?
What is happening in this area?
So he's like, so I'm listening. He's singing. I wish I had a pencil-thin mustache. That song.
If people listening are from Great Falls and they know the Myers family, they're incredibly
Extremely
musical.
musical.
All of them are.
Amazing,
And
yeah.
we happened to be blessed with a visit from Mike's brothers. The weekend we were moving into our shop.
Oh.
And one of them is like he
teaches it in Thailand. He's
overseas and
PhD in music
he
theory
comes
or
back
something.
to visit Great Falls because he loves Great Falls. But they were outside playing music, and I mean it
Little
was like
jam
the
session?
best concert I have. I mean it was amazing.
So he
yeah.
brought over a ukulele for me to work on and fix. And I said, yeah, I can fix that for you. And that's the rest of the story. Then I got to know him. Now I golf with him 4 or 5 times a week. And
So your golf game is pretty epic.
no, it should be. No, I get ridiculed for my lack of ability regularly from those guys. But he owns
understand that.
more than well, actually, he sold it to his kids now, but he still has his hands in it. But so it's Morning Light Coffee, and Susan wants to put hardwood in everything. Well, I can only get
That
to so
dirty
much of
little
that. So we thought, wow, we should try to smoke some coffee and do something cool or different with it. So Mike and I spent about a year playing with different ways to get a little bit of smoke, not like smoke like beef jerky taste. We didn't. That's not what we were
That
looking
would
for.
be an interesting coffee
Yeah,
flavor.
and so we came up with this ultimately to roast it, and then it's smoked in a smoker, and then so we called it Morning Wood. So the first label actually was the little tagline was "There's no better way to start your day than with a little morning wood."
But my mom read it.
She said, "No, you can't put that on."
She was okay. She was okay with Morning Wood. She wasn't okay with the
the
rest of it.
slogan, incorporating it into a sentence. Yeah.
She struggles a little bit with our hardwood jokes.
Especially when we talk about crotches, because
Yeah,
wood
yeah,
trees have
that's an actual
crotches.
term.
Okay, I was like, why are we talking about crotches? It's like, I understand. Like,
The crotch of the tree, and it makes the most beautiful wood is the crotch wood. It really is.
okay, I believe you.
I do have a piece of crotchwood now that you say that on my countertop that I got from my husband. So.
That was one of my.
What a nice gift from him. Just
You
kidding.
got
I'm
your
sure
husband
it
a little
is.
crotch
He
for
knows
Christmas.
how to make me happy.
I'm just
One of my first posts, like a social media post for the business, was a piece of cherry crotchwood. And so I had it up, and I mean, it was the most beautiful wood. And again, if you're a woodworker, you know what this is. But if you're not, it's where the tree branches out, the figure of the wood, the grain
Very
patterns
convoluted.
crisscross,
It's,
and they're
just
moving
crazy.
different directions. So it's just gorgeous. And so my mom called me up, and she said, "Well, I saw your post." And I said,
Okay.
I said, isn't that pretty wood? And she goes, well, it is, but I just don't understand why you have to be so vulgar. And I said, Mom.
You're like, that's what it's called.
I said, that's what it's called. And she goes, what do you mean that's what it's called? And I said, there is no other word to use. It's crotch wood. That's the legitimate term. And then she was like, oh.
She's a faithful Lutheran Norwegian from Fargo.
So
I know
she's
one of
like-
those too, just north of here.
Yeah, sure, you betcha.
So she's like, I'm proud of you, but
Not
don't
all
like
the
the
time.
marketing. Yeah. So how long have you had morning wood?
Well, usually I'm done with my morning wood by about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. But
That's great.
I'm
Good to-
continuing
glad
with
we're
my morning
recording
wood
this
right
later
now.
in the morning. Yeah.
It's
that's
been
probably
4 or
8.
5 years, 6 years. I don't know. It's been a
It's
while.
probably been about 8.
Okay.
I think. It was just a couple
Yeah, a
years.
couple years
in.
after we started, we got it figured out.
So that was kind of one of my marketing things was I want people to see that wood is part of everything. And you know, I mean, there's really like so many different uses. So when people come in, they can have coffee with wood in it. We have snacks all the time. We don't always
When
have
you say
smoked wood.
coffee with wood in it,
You know,
am I going to get like splinters? What do you mean?
No.
No.
I just mean the smoky flavor.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So and you know that's just
maybe
my,
there's chunks of wood.
Maybe
that's
there's
my
chunks.
plan.
Might be.
If
Well,
you have
extra
some
fiber.
of these chocolates, they might have
Okay,
wood in
yeah.
it because I packed those in sawdust. So see, they're going to make a mess on
Oh,
your table.
yeah. Look at that.
Open from the other end. But we do. You come in. Come in and have a cup of coffee, and people will. I do provide a lot of snacks and food for people who come in
I think
because
we spend more on snacks and food than we take home as salaries.
well, it's
part of the experience.
great
If you're coming
ambiance.
in
It
to look
is.
around, it takes a while to look
Yeah.
at all
I
the
would
wood.
say
a
the
great
average
idea.
customer
So-
spends no less than a half an hour
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
Well, there's
sometimes
just
an
so
hour or
much
two.
different wood to touch and look at and feel that
And
you.
not only is it long, it's hard too.
yeah.
Diff-
Or
different-
short.
Well, and we
Sometimes it
do
could be
all
short.
lengths.
It's all
All
lengths.
lengths.
Yeah.
That's another thing to kind of note. Something that makes us kind of original is that we specialize in hardwood, and hardwood in Montana is hard to come by. Sorry, guys.
And it's not just Great Falls hardwood. It is all the hardwoods.
We
Yeah,
travel
so-
Okay.
across the country really getting certain species that we don't have here.
Yeah.
Okay.
In abundance anyway.
We specialize in urban wood, so we like to see wood that would normally just be chopped up and thrown away. Come to us and we mill it. So like this ash board that we brought in for you today, our nice ash. That's a local tree.
Came out of somebody's
that,
yard.
You know, we turned
Okay.
into something useful. And there's a whole movement in the country, and we got in kind of on a ground floor. It's getting bigger, and you'll hear more and more about it. But the urban lumber movement is, more and more people are recognizing that there's usefulness to this stuff. And it used to be just big mills would take only mill logs, and everything else would just go into the garbage or a burn pile.
The trees that we see in Great Falls specifically, it's a Tree City, USA, something like
The
38,000.
first.
Yeah, sometimes something like
first.
38,000 trees that the city
Yep.
maintains and manages, but none of these are native trees. These are things that were put here back when the founders, Paris Gibson and those guys, created this idea of let's have trees, and they had a nursery actually down by the Civic Center. What was it called? That's where that park is now.
Gibson
But-
Park.
When we were doing,
Not the one right
Right
next
in
to
front of the
Civic
Children's
Center.
Museum, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you guys had Annie's Tap House on as I
Yeah.
tap on the table. But Annie's Tap House, and when we did a bar for them, and we did a whole
Yeah.
bunch of
Yeah.
research because they wanted to do a lot of
really
historical
cool.
stuff. And there's some really neat pictures of the old nursery, and it starts with an M. I can't remember the name
Yeah,
of
I
the
don't
park.
remember either. But there's still a sign there with that name on it.
Yeah, and I think we
But
put
it
it
used
on
to be
the bar.
the city nursery, and so
Yeah.
they raised the
Yeah.
trees there.
Yeah.
But so if Montana does not have very many native hardwood trees, the hardwood trees are your deciduous trees. Even the cottonwood family is all hardwood, even though it's a relatively soft in terms of
Hardwood.
density. It's a hardwood, and so if the leaves fall, it's a hardwood. And so we've got 4 or 5 species of native hardwoods in Montana. We've got the populous group, and then some aspen, birch, things like that. Willows are native. Other than that, we have to go out and get them or find them in somebody's yard. So you'll see a few walnut trees in Great Falls. You'll see a few maple and oak trees and things.
And occasionally we do have some people who are upset that we're milling logs. But most rational people understand that trees have a life, and that, just like people that, they're only going to live so long. There's also diseases that happen and things. So it's way better to mill them and use them than have them just go to waste.
Like the giving tree.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Bring it back to that book. Did you?
You don't seem as impressed as everyone else.
Me? With the giving tree. I love that book.
It's a great book.
That's why I said bring it back to the book.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so we can turn that tree into that table that is with your family
There's
forever now.
There's a continued story.
Right.
Am I remembering correctly? And if I'm not, whatever. But the city Christmas tree, you guys have taken that and then made it, because that's a really cool project. Because I think sometimes people get upset because they're cutting down a huge old tree from somebody's yard.
It's a lack of really understanding of life cycle of especially urban trees.
So
you can only grow a tree in your yard for so long.
And then it starts to get into your sewer system.
And so then we have to decide, this is our house, our investment. This is a tree in our yard that's destroying my basement. I mean, there's this fine balance
and that's actually a really so I never knew how the city Christmas tree program worked and until we got asked to be a part of that. And there's people on a waiting list that it actually saves them a lot because their tree gets taken down and they don't have to spend the thousands of dollars. And it's some of those big pines are really
spruce.
I mean, they're kind of dangerous to take down, so they're kind of pricey to get out of their yards. So people get on a list and they'll donate their tree in exchange for not having to pay for the removal costs. And we did. We took the tree and milled it into wood, and then we did a fundraiser for the to keep it going. Because another thing people don't realize is that that's all volunteers and donations anymore. It's not something I don't think that's run by the city anymore.
The taking down of the tree, the putting up of the tree, the putting up of the decorations, all volunteer.
And this is and we've posted about it, but I mean, this is a massive tree that goes in front of the Civic Center every year. It's officially lit by Santa and his magical dust during the Parade of Lights. It's a really fun tradition in Great Falls.
It really is.
And to watch the process too, like I've been on scene, if you will, when they've been cutting it down. And these trees are huge. This is a lot of work for them to transport.
That particular year, it was really fun. We were there. I got to actually do the cutting of the tree that year, and the moving of that thing down.
The caravan that goes in front of it.
The escort.
And they got it up.
You don't want to be parked in the street.
We had so I was in front of the truck, right in front of the big truck. I think it was Johnson Madison, maybe donates the big flatbed.
Yeah.
And then the crane companies, everybody in town gets involved, and so having to actually have the boom trucks lift the power lines as we went through, it was so big. It's touching both sides of the street. And
crazy.
It's absolutely amazing process. And then that year we got to raffle off a table. So we custom. We normally don't do softwood projects, but we did. We built this gorgeous table, custom order for someone who won the raffle.
Which is so cool. Like, I'd be so excited if I'm like, this was the city Christmas tree and now it's my table forever. Like, that's just such a cool concept. Yeah.
And if you really want to see this, you guys took amazing footage of the year you were involved. So scroll through the Facebook page of the Goodwood Guys and you're going to see the video content that was captured, and it was pretty epic to just feel like you're part of this going, oh my God, this is not going to be good.
Like nervous watching it. Yeah.
I was nervous watching it.
That's really cool.
Well, some of your equipment and people you care about were there.
Involved. Yeah.
I was more worried about other people's things.
Yeah. That's really cool though. So well, just going back to the trees that are here, I know my husband and I are trying to garden and plant new trees. We're on the edge of town, a little bit like newer area. And we were just having a conversation with our neighbor because some trees we planted last year died already. They were just little like pine shrub things. They croaked last year, didn't make it. And just trying to find something that will survive up there. And my neighbors and I were talking like, this is a losing battle. Look at this hill behind us. Literally nothing except weeds grows on this hill. And we're expecting vegetables and trees and everything to just thrive in our yard beyond this fence. So it is challenging. Right. So what are some of the main woods that you do work with that you are able to use from this area?
So the native species are all in the genus Populus.
Okay.
That's the majority of them. And that includes the standard cottonwood. We have the silver poplar, the balsam poplar, the black cottonwood, and then tremuloides, the aspens.
Okay.
The aspens. Those are the majority of our native species. So if you pick something in that category, it'll probably do well here because it can grow and reproduce and do its thing. It's evolved to be in this climate in this region, and there's some willow species that do well also.
And
ash
ash
will
isn't
grow
native.
well. It's not native.
native.
So we've all experienced this. If you live in Great Falls in the hood, down in the cool part of town in the north side, or there's ash trees everywhere, and they have the little seed pods that look like propeller blades, similar to a maple but a little bit smaller. But they will sprout, and you'll have them in your garden, in your gutters, and they're everywhere. But that will never develop into a tree. We're not in the right region for those to reproduce. They'll grow here once you get an established tree started.
Okay.
And they'll grow well here, but they won't reproduce and create a forest of ash, for example. Just not the right.
They create a lot of weeds in my garden.
A lot of weeds.
When we moved into our house here in Great Falls, my current spouse did a fantastic thing because he loves trees and planted 5 trees. And they are beautiful today. They're Patmore ash. And I just love saying Patmore ash.
You want to pat some more ash?
But a couple years ago, because Montana can be mean, our trees had sprouted for spring and then winter hit again.
Yeah.
And so one of them did not do well. And Robert looks at me and he says, if that tree dies, we are moving. And I'm like,
Oh.
Okay, well, how long are you going to give it? And he goes, she's hanging on by a thread, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to list my house here shortly.
We actually, there's a lot of trees. People who are visiting or in Great Falls will see that there's a lot of trees coming down in Gibson Park.
Yeah, I was going to ask about those.
And those are ash trees, and that's the same thing that happened to your Patmore. Happened to a lot of the ash trees a couple years ago with that hard freeze.
We had a September 28th below zero and snow, and that year all of those trees froze and with the green leaves, and they didn't get to go through the hibernation process. The color of the leaf changing is, part of how it works. It goes into dormancy and
has to get done.
It has to go through that process. They didn't get to, and so the next spring we had a late winter, and we got another one as they started budding, and it just killed them. And there's some other pests going on as well, but that was a big hit. And we see the ash trees, 50% of the trees have half or less of their branches alive still.
Yeah, we cut the dead off. And she's doing good, except where it was like the main part of the tree that goes straight up that died. The rest, like the sides worked, and so we had to cut that part off. But now, like the trunk is getting water in it and peeling, or the bark is peeling away from the trunk. So I'm like, I'm starting to pack my stuff.
Ready to list.
Well, you can nurture one or two of those shoots to come up and be the main part of the tree if the root system is still solid.
Yeah, we're working on it, but our pine trees did good. So I'm hopeful, maybe just with the loss of one. This weekend, he said, I don't know what we'll do if this one goes, but we'll replace it with something. And I'm like, well, that's better than moving, which is the last time I heard.
That seems more expensive and bigger hassle than that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
we have a tree in our backyard that needs to come down as well.
No, it
But
doesn't.
someone won't let me do it.
Ooh, source of contention.
Yeah.
It's one of those little flowering crab apple trees that they have these 3/4 inch diameter
tiny.
crab, and they're just, but it's 80% dead probably. It's
But
been there.
20%
She's going to wait till it's
There you
100.
go.
That's right.
We have photos of these trees being planted. When we purchased a house, there was photos of the original owners planting
goes-
that and an oak tree in the
It
yard.
goes back to the end of life thing,
Yeah.
Like
It's,
I know it has an end of life. I just
Yeah.
don't want to. I don't want to.
You don't
deal
want it
with
to be there yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not ready for
yeah.
it to die.
With it being 20% alive, it's like you're killing it.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're like, there's a little hope left here.
Plus, when we first got married,
Uh-oh.
Right.
Rebecca said to tell funny stories.
Oh.
I'm ready.
when we
20%.
first-
We
when we
still have
first
20% of our
got-
marriage. Is that what you mean?
Yep. It's almost past its lifespan. Yeah.
No,
That's
when
it.
we first got married, we bought this little house, and we live on the north side, and I love
Right
it.
on the one ways.
Yeah,
Between
yeah.
14th, 15th, 2nd
Yeah.
North.
Yeah.
We're right there.
Yeah. So anyhow, we love our little community, but
It's a beautiful area. Mhm.
It is. It is. We're in the Boulevard district,
Yeah,
so
oh, I
I
love
think
that
that's
area.
a sign for
Mhm.
wood people. But we have an ash tree out on our front yard, and I said to Chris in the fall, I think we need to trim the tree, and he said to me, "Oh no, you do that in the spring." And I didn't know anything about trees, and he did. He grew up in Oregon logging, so I assumed he knew what he was talking about. So I said, "Oh, okay." So in the spring, I said to Chris, "We need to trim our tree," and he said, "Oh no, you do that in the fall."
Oh, no, you did not.
As if he thought that I would forget. And so what I've concluded is that we don't trim our
He
trees.
doesn't want to trim the tree. Yeah, that's what's happening. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, this weekend, I like to go talk to the trees and rub them a little bit, just
They need love.
Rub the
give them a
wood.
little
Yeah.
little boost.
She's
Spring's
trying
coming.
to get you to make a joke.
You want-
That's a bait right
Everybody
there.
wants to rub my hardwood. It just, they come into the store just to see and rub my hardwood. They
I
can't
walk-
keep their
High
hands off of
demand
it.
right there.
I walk to each one of my trees. I rub their branches. I
Yeah.
pat them on the trunk. I'm like, you're doing a good job, looking all nice. And my husband looks at me this week. He goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, "These are living, breathing things." I said, "I'm just talking to them, telling them good job. Made it through the winter. Want you to grow big and strong. Want them to know they're welcome in our yard to do things, big things." And he's like, "You've lost your ever-loving mind." And I'm like, "No, I haven't." So I get through all the trees, and then I start heading down the pine trees, and he's at the end of the pine tree row talking to our neighbor. And I'm talking to each one. He goes, "Oh, here comes my crazy wife. She's been talking to the trees again." I'm like, I talk to them every year.
You can actually argue that talking to plants helps them.
Yeah, I've
You are
seen the
giving them
videos.
an increased amount of CO2. If you're doing it at the right times, you're
Yeah.
promoting photosynthesis and
Yeah.
Just
My
blowing
trees,
a lot of
Look
hot
at
air
you.
at them.
Yeah.
Being all
Right.
scientific.
yeah, being one with nature.
Well, and the trees, this is getting, well, you know science, you can tell.
that's correct.
The trees, at least in forests, talk to each other, don't they? There's like in a sense, like there's a
Tree
there's a
language?
network.
This lady's crazy.
I'm crazy. She's the one talking to the trees have some form of communication
Absolute-
amongst them, correct?
Communication is an interesting thing. We communicate verbally, we talk,
Yeah.
but all this is chemical signals. We're hearing something that creates a chemical signal that goes to our brain. We process it through these chemical processes. Well, trees can do the same thing. Any plant can do the same thing. Have a chemical
Reaction.
signaling reaction process.
Yeah.
I mean, just by the nature of being there and consuming and releasing the things that are in the local environment. And
Which is just so, I mean, it's just so cool to think like,
they affect
That's
each
all
other.
happening.
The
Yeah.
communication isn't immediate, but they certainly one affects the other through their
There's transmission of information about
Correct.
the environment.
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's not cognitively
Right.
processed as a sentient thought or anything,
Right.
but it's certainly.
My trees smile when I talk to them.
Do
They're
they?
like,
And you were calling me crazy.
so nice she came and talked to me. They blush when I tap their trunk.
Yeah.
When you rub their wood. Yeah, that makes sense.
They might feel a little violated
Yeah.
if you do that.
Mhm. Are you sure?
Well, they've been around long enough. There are trees. They
They know
know.
what's happening.
So I'm going to circle back to the products that are in your store because you talked about the custom products you make. You're not going to walk in and see a beautifully made table in general to purchase. You're going to find smaller things that'll fit in your carry-on or checked luggage.
Yeah. That's Susan's. She's always got to come up with a way. What can we? So we're building this giant table for some. Well, we got to be able to do something with that piece, and so she creates these cool little kits that we put together. Well, I need you to make me 500 of these, and so we got to make
She's
squirrel
the
picnic
ideal lady.
tables,
Yeah.
or we
Yeah.
got to make whatever
I have
thing,
lots
cutting
of
board
ideas.
kits and
So many
whatever.
ideas.
Yeah, lots
Oh, a
of fun
cutting
little
board
things.
kit. That's fun.
Yeah.
I did buy a cutting board from a kid who got the kit from the Goodwood guys.
That's
Oh.
Jack Snyder.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome kid. That's a great story. You should do a story with him one of these days.
Oh, okay.
He lives out in Cascade-ish, but they're Great Falls people, and
He was at the farmer's market
Yeah.
and he was doing a really good job. It's not normal for young kids to go, I have this product and please come in and look at my stuff. And he told the story of how he does stuff. And I'm like,
Cool.
look at you go.
Yeah.
And,
He even
and so I
makes his
bought,
own wax. I
Yeah.
think.
Oh, wow.
bees.
Yeah.
so I
Because
bought
he has bees.
a piece of work from him. And my husband goes, oh, thank God. I mean, you were getting really low on chunks of wood to put in our house. I'm like, I knew you would see it that way.
I bought a couple cutting boards from him as well. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a neat kid.
So the things that are there are not always the same thing. There's creative things that go into there. So share with our listeners today what kind of that current inventory might be beyond just slabs of wood.
Beyond slabs of wood. Well, I talked about the hearts already. That's kind of our new fun thing for weddings. We have squirrel picnic table kits, which are pretty
Squirrel
fun.
picnic tables.
Squirrel picnic tables, yeah.
Don't even get me started on the squirrels.
I come to Chris with all sorts of crazy ideas, and that was one of them that was brought to my attention. People really wanted to put their tables on trees so that their squirrels could eat peanuts out at table, which
Well,
is
that's nice of them.
much. And yeah, so you'll see them around Great Falls.
Yeah.
If you're wondering why there are tables on trees or fences, it's because
That's
people,
you.
yeah, people like to
And they
take care of
quite
their
literally
squirrels.
will sit on the
They
bench
will.
of the table
They
and
will.
eat the peanuts that are sitting on the top of them.
Yeah,
That's
it's
kinda
pretty.
cute.
It's pretty cute. So we have those. Oh, my mind just went blank. Sorry.
Oh.
Say something else. Here.
Your
keep talking.
makerspace things.
Oh,
You've
our
got all
propagation
sorts of-
vases
there
are
you go.
another new one that people have really liked. So we do a lot of live edge things. Live edge, again, for people who are listening and aren't wood people, means normally you take a tree and you cut the natural edge, you cut the bark and the crooked part off, if you will, and you make square rectangle boards. And we leave that on a lot of our pieces. But occasionally, like if we're making a big table, we have some that come off. And so I'm always trying to think of things to make out of them because they're cool.
When we
I
mill
think
logs, we pretty much mill everything as slabs and leave that live edge because it's kind of hard to put back on if somebody wants something live edge. But if they don't and want a nice clean edge thing, well, we just turn that into the boards for the project. So.
Yeah, so we don't just have that, but I
Right.
mean that's really like for people who don't understand wood, that's kind of how it starts out. So anyhow, I take those. I make propagation bases have been something that people have really been getting into again too, where you just cut off a little leaf from your plant and you put it in water and you start a new root so you can start a new plant. So I have little chunks of wood and little
Like the size
glass
of your coffee cup or
vials
something.
in them,
Yeah.
and you can put your leaf in there and let the root grow, and it can grow in a pretty piece of wood.
Yeah.
So and we have our cutting board kits and little car kits. Every November, Small Business Saturday, we do a big event in at the store for the community where we invite all of the kids in Great Falls to come and to Santa's wood shop. And Santa has blessed us for about 9 years with taking some time out. We can't get him too close to Christmas, so he agreed to do it, the Saturday after Thanksgiving. But he brings us all sorts of little cars, and I keep trying to get airplanes, but he's really set on his cars.
The airplanes would be really cool.
Well,
And the kids get to come in and hammer the wheels together and build the car.
That's super cool.
Have some cocoa, and that's just a free event we do for fun.
Yeah.
So.
And
this year you did the Easter egg.
extravaganza.
Yes, that was so much fun.
Thanks to you.
Yeah, thank you for getting the word out about that.
Absolutely, it was a really neat event.
What we had done the year before and ran out in like 3 hours.
Oh wow.
Perfect.
That's
I need
such
a
fun
lot
idea,
more eggs
though.
for next year.
Yeah.
So a lot
Is
more
it hard
eggs.
to make an egg out of wood? I mean, that seems
It's very hard.
It seems challenging.
It's very hard. I don't actually make the eggs, Shannon.
That's okay. It's still cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, somebody makes them. They're real hard, but
Somebody
they're
does,
made in.
It is real wood.
It
Right,
is real
somebody
wood.
makes
They're
it.
usually
Yeah.
they're maple. Yeah.
They're maple, and we order them from a company that has it's a lathe, but it's a duplicate lathe, and so they've got these massive machines.
They
that
crank them out pretty quick.
That's just it's a really fun
If
idea.
I
could
made
make
them,
an
it
egg, but it'd take me an hour and a half to make one
be like
egg.
buying a
That seems-
Fabergé egg.
Yeah.
And I'd have to charge $600 for one egg.
one egg is $1.2 million.
$100 billion.
So yeah, we try to have all sorts of things for kids, and I love kids in the wood shop. It's really cool to me to see dads and grandpas and I mean moms and grandmas too, but he loves kids. Chris always says kids are garbage, but he loves kids. He'll come up to me and he'll go, don't you have a popsicle for them? I'm like, yeah, I'm getting them one.
Oh my gosh.
They need a popsicle.
We have a freezer, a little deep freeze in the back room full of popsicles. So we gave, we brought you a little bucket full of tokens. We give them away at the 4th of July. So kids come in with these tokens. You can come get them here at the Visit Great Falls Center, and they come in and get a treat, whatever it happens to be, a popsicle on a hot day
in the
or whatever.
summer, we have a freezer full of popsicles for them, and we have all sorts of little. They have chalkboards that they can, wooden chalkboards they can color on, and
plenty of toys for kids to play with while their parents are looking around it.
Yeah, coloring books, and
we have one guy who comes in pretty much every week. He'll come in with his 2 kids. He's there for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and the kids just. There's not a piece of wood in the store that doesn't have chalk on it.
No, they're really good about.
They're good.
They have one place they color. They don't color on everything.
The other thing that's really neat about the store is you do have displays up, so people who can't really envision what a piece of wood could become, they can see what you've done in the past with whether it be shelving or vanities or counters or.
And that is a hard. If you're not a woodworker and you just love wood, when you walk into a wood shop and you see these raw boards, you're like,
I don't know.
yeah, I don't want that in my house. I'm sorry, honey, we're in the wrong store.
Yeah.
But you have to see beyond that. So we do try to really help people and help them understand that
we're not, log furniture kind of place. That's not really our thing. We, if we do live edge something, they don't leave bark on it because, that's log cabin, Jeremiah Johnson kind of stuff. And that's going to fall off and create problems. We do custom finish pieces where that edge, it's a live edge, but it's clean and nice and finished, and try to help people see that when they're looking at this stack of, it looks like a tree expanded up into, cut pieces of wood. And so, it's
really
a vision art you have to have. So we have those pieces sitting there with that live edge that is finished, and they can see, that's really cool.
That's how this works. Yeah. In addition to the products that you make for people and the products that are available for sale in the store, in addition to the wood slabs, you've done some really unique partnerships that we have talked about, the coffee, the Christmas tree thing. But let's talk about some of the other partnerships you've done historically so people can kind of understand where wood will infiltrate their lives in the most unsuspecting ways.
If you go to, if you have the opportunity to go to MSU Bozeman, a couple of years back, I want to say it was 18, 19, I don't remember what year it was. That's a
what he's trying to talk about is, I'm going to just go ahead and interrupt.
She's mouthing something to me, so I lost my train of thought.
So he's like, I don't know what you're saying.
We work with a lot of commercial contractors in addition to working with residential contractors. Mm-hmm. And we do some pretty big jobs for people that are businesses in town. And I think maybe to your point where the places that people can go in Great Falls and see good wood.
Annie's Tap House.
Annie's Tap House has an incredible bar.
That tree
what we
came
loved
from
about
the tree at Annie's Tap House.
Right across
came
from
St. Anne's on 7th Avenue North.
Yeah.
That tree came down in a huge storm. It was
it's like a microburst almost.
It was a Saturday evening, and we had just closed the store, and somebody told me, "Hey, there's a giant tree that just fell down." And so it was blocking that whole entire intersection. You couldn't get through there. And, there was no city crews or anything out at that time. And so the fire department was there. And I rolled up and said, hey, we can get this tree out of here, like, right now. So I went and I called my crew and said, hey, let's grab
worked into the dark of night.
Yeah, so we got that whole tree cleared.
Tree. It came like feet from hitting the
St. Anne's
cathedral.
door.
Oh my gosh!
It was
So we turned that into Annie's Tap House bar top and their shelves and stuff. So.
What was cool about their build was they wanted to repurpose some history from their property, and so the shape of the bar had to be a certain way. It looks almost like a giant candy cane. In terms of shape, but it's, how long is it, 20-some feet long?
Oh, no, the whole thing's probably 60 feet, 50-some
60
feet. Yeah, the one straight line is, I want to say, 24 feet, and then you've got
then it wraps
the
around.
whole curve,
So that's Great Falls Ash at Annie's Tap House. The Roadhouse, which is another great restaurant in town, has all of their tabletops.
Those came from Great Falls High.
Yeah, those are all.
Oh, wow.
That was all wood that was repurposed from that. There's a Morning Light Coffee, of course. They're big supporters of us and have helped us with lots of stuff. Mike's great.
And the N Bar, all the tables in there.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that, too.
The Cash Out Gold Casino, we did theirs.
The Mountain View Co-op,
Mountain
their
View
new
Co-op,
building.
we did theirs.
You did
big,
stuff
huge
up there.
curved bar top there.
I knew I should have gone through a list of all the things so we wouldn't forget.
But that's way more extensive than I realized. Those are big projects.
And a lot of the cool places to go in town that have these cool, and you sit down and you feel this awesome wood table. It's probably one we did.
We did, if you ever have the opportunity to do business with Sletton Construction. And you go into their offices, we did all their work tables and their big 20-foot-long conference table.
Wow.
We'll have pictures of that up on our Facebook pretty soon. They're almost done with the room.
We're still in process.
Very cool.
Yeah. Our office has shelving.
Yeah, yeah, you
From
do.
the Goodwood guys.
That's right.
That's right.
I mean, it's pretty minor and not really impressive, really, just slabs of wood.
But still neat.
Yeah, it's really good.
Right.
And then you've done small projects. Like there was a point when Pizzazz's charcuterie boards came on your, I'm going to call it remnant wood. Like it wasn't.
Yeah, and actually,
they weren't full charcuterie board pieces, but they were just chunks of wood that.
That they picked up. They actually, I think it was her dad that did all the sanding and stuff on those. But they came and bought the raw wood from us, and they processed that, and it was neat to have all the wood going out for people. And we just had someone who had a wedding, and they came in and bought little big boards and cut them into little boards so they could make trays for people to take home.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
I mean there's a lot of good wood.
That's right.
That's what she said. Again.
So talk to us about these chocolates that are part of the decoration on our ash.
That's just part of my treats. And
So,
I just
one of the things, if you walk into our store, you'll find little bins of things all over the place with treats in them.
I haven't done a partnership, and I should someday with like Candy Masterpiece because I love going down there for their.
The wrong side, because this side
doesn't
I know
matter.
it does.
No, it does. It's a mess no matter what. So if you came into our store and bought a gift card, it'd be full of sawdust and things like that. Yeah.
Well, which is what should be when you buy a wood gift card.
Oh, we do. That little package there is something that we do with a smoking thing. So we call them tasty beverage smoke kits, where you can smoke
cocktails.
a whiskey.
Yeah.
Great idea.
So we make these kits, and then they come with packs of.
And you light them on fire.
They come with a torch and the butane and a cool little glass. And
if we had done this later in the day, we would have brought you whiskey instead.
You know, anytime we're up for that on the podcast, just for future reference.
And it doesn't have to be later in the day.
That's what I mean. Thing. Yeah. Alcohol is another thing you can put wood into.
Yep.
And people
whiskey.
really like that.
Those old it's the old fashioned, right? That's got
something
that.
like that.
Yeah. I have wanted to get one of those kits, and my husband's like, no.
Well, just come to the store and get one.
So now I'm going to.
Yeah.
I'll just put that on my Christmas list.
It comes with the torch. It comes with the butane, glass, the
topper,
the thing that you put with the screen, and you put the chips in it, and then a lid for it. And
that's cool.
Again,
really
those of
it's
you who are listening now watching, Chris is
doing sign
gesturing
language
like crazy.
He is gesturing like crazy.
Our esteemed audience knows fully about smoking a glass beforehand.
Sure.
The other thing that I do want to share is, even though my husband is against me getting more wood, when I put on my letter to Santa, I want something from the Goodwood guys, he still goes and gets me wood.
Because he gets excited about that. Fantastic.
He's like, this couple years ago, it was
no better
on my
husband than one who gives his wife good wood.
Right. I put it on my
job.
letter to Santa, and he looks at me and he goes, "You're not getting this." And then what shows up under the tree? Wood.
Because it's there. The idea was right there. You make it easy for him.
And I'm like, I thought you said no more wood. And he's like, shut your mouth. And I'm like, I get what I want.
So when and where can people find you?
Oh, that's a good question. we are the last few years we've gone to, because we are so busy building these custom pieces, we need to stay focused on that quite a lot. And so we decided that most of our customers were coming on Fridays and Saturdays anyway. So we went to just, Friday, we're there 10 to 6, Saturday 9 to 3. And 3 years later, I had no idea you weren't open on a Monday. I mean, just because you're always coming on a Friday and Saturday anyway.
Right.
So
Yeah, that's when that makes sense.
we're out in the shop working. We're there.
We are by appointment. If you have people coming to town who are only going to be here on a Wednesday, if they call us on a Tuesday and let us know, we're there. We just have the store open Fridays and Saturdays. And then we have some special occasions. This summer, I've got events that I've got scheduled. So we'll have some Thursdays, too, that will be open. And some event things that we'll be doing. So
great.
And we're over on, it's 816 20th Street North. If you're familiar with Great Falls, you've been around. It's the old Hodges Plumbing Complex. The Habitat Restore was in there for a number of years. We've been in there for the last 11 years now, I think. So
the thing that I love about it is it's unsuspecting, and I love that entire kind of industrial area in Great Falls. So you're in a residential area, and then you take a left, and you're amidst industrial stuff. And
United Materials right across the
love
street.
that kind of experience. And there is a beautiful sign on the corner of 8th Street, so you can easily get in there to see what's happening Friday and Saturdays when they're open, by appointment other times. Let me ask a question, because this is one I don't know. We know Chris is the wood maker. We know Susan's kind of the marketing genius. But now that you're not teaching,
I make her sand everything. And
I was just going to ask,
she spends
what's
a
your
good amount
role?
of time in the shop with me.
Okay, so you're now a woodworker as well.
Yeah, and I do love woodworking. I mean, I just, we joke about it's the Goodwood guys, and I think guys I think guys is a generic term to me. And I think I grew up maybe in a different era, but hey, you guys didn't mean only men could come.
Hey,
Right.
you guys.
That's what I was thinking of. Yep.
Goonies. Yeah, you know who played in that?
I think Martha Plume
Yeah,
did.
I think so.
She did.
She did.
I think she did. That's
an
another
inside
good
joke.
story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so no, I love to get out in the shop. I do a lot of the processing, so I will look at the pieces and say, what could this be? So all those little suitcase pieces that people take home, those are probably because I told Chris someone would love this.
What she's really good at is filling up all the workbenches full of stacks of crap that are in the way of building a table.
It's just opportunity awaiting.
Right.
Yeah.
It is, and sometimes it waits for Chris because I need his help with things, and so if he'd help me more, his workbench tops would
Right.
be full.
I'm always in trouble. Always in trouble.
Do you have other people working with you?
Are other people part of this domestic squabble?
Yes and no. It's been a struggle finding quality employees to maintain the standards of building things the way that we do. And
We're
so
hoping
we've
as
struggled with
Great
that.
Falls is growing that there's kind of a new population of people that are really interested. So if someone listening has a real passion for wood and
There
they
you
want to
go.
come live in Great
Post-COVID
Falls,
was
it was hard
very
on us.
detrimental
Yeah, it was hard on
to
us.
employees.
It's a lot of time to teach people about wood, and you have to have a true passion for it, and people have to want to really stick around. And
You have to be able to sweep the floor in the
hesitation-
shop before you can build the table.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people want to go through. I just want to build a river table. Like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
That's not where we start. So final question from me. I can't imagine living every day with my current spouse and working with him.
Okay, I'm out of here.
He's like, I'm done. You have to answer this too.
Okay, so this is
How easy is it for you two?
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, you ready? Ready? Just kidding. No. I golf a lot, but you have to have some anonymity, and you have to have some separation time, even though we are together
A lot.
I mean, I disappear and go golfing.
Yeah.
I'll leave a couple days a week at 4 and say, she will
I'm not
not
hearing
call
him
me.
say he loves it.
She will not call me. But you find that piece in between where you're not just hounding on each other about business and work and everything else, but we get along just fine. I mean, we make it work. And
20 whatever years together as a married couple is a bit of a testament
Sure.
that maybe you can figure things out.
I'm a very patient
She
person.
There you
she
go.
finishes
Too
my
much work.
sentences
Yep.
most of the time. So.
It's too much work to find someone else.
I know.
It is. That's like, this would get too expensive if we tried to split the sheets here.
Too complicated
We're
at this
stuck.
point. Yeah.
No, Susan disappears and goes to her mom's in Fargo for a week or whatever and has a release.
I
from-
think what he's trying to say in a very awkward way is we're not together 24/7. Sure. We both have other interests
Right.
besides each other, but we support each other. And I mean, the key to any healthy marriage is looking at your spouse and saying, I appreciate this person for who he is and what
She
he
always
does.
knows
And
what I need and when I need it and makes it happen, no matter what it is, whether it's a golf trip or
Oh, that's nice.
It's very nice. Yeah.
You have done Western Art Week in the past, but haven't in a while. Is that because there's just a lot of work to do in the
We have
shop
a
as
lot
it
of
is?
work. A lot of work.
yeah, it felt kind of unfair to us to be going out to, and we backed off from some of the shows. When we first were starting the business,
did
we
every
really
show
wanted
that
to get
we had.
out there, and then we would spend, it takes for us, for the kind of booth and shows that we would do, it would take a good solid month of our, commitment to have everything ready. And then, it's a week at a show really by the time you set it up and tear it down. And we have people who have been waiting, some people have been waiting for over a year. I mean, some people 2 years for some of the things that they're waiting for Chris to do. And it just felt unfair to make them wait longer while we go try to solicit more business. So We love the Western Art Show. We love Western Art Week. I've actually toyed
Super
with
fun.
the idea. Well, this year we did our own little Western Art Show at the store, and we took wood and turned it into art, which I thought was hilarious. Chris thought it was a pain in his butt, but but we have a few pieces left.
The
We didn't
execution was not as fun.
all
Right.
of the pieces, but we did sell some art pieces, and you see more and more. That's another thing that you could take home
Art
with
on
you.
the wall.
You see
piece of
wood
wood.
that's just, just polished and, like you would your charcuterie
Yeah.
board, what if you just hung it on the wall? So we get all sorts of, because of our urban wood, all sorts of crazy looking pieces of wood. And there's one that Chris named the Angry Man. And
like
I have that one hanging up in the store still. That one didn't sell, but it's really it's a great piece of wood. It's a piece of cottonwood that's kind of an oval shape, and it had a rotted section of it
Where a knot was, and it looked like a mouth and a weird, crazy
and it
eye.
looks like he has a really pointy, scary nose, and he really does look angry. He looks like he's like like crotchety old neighbor man that you might have had when you were a kid. He looks like that. So that was hanging on our wall.
We had a guy in the sawmill who used to work for us, and he would run the sawmill every day. And every time he got a weird little piece that looked like something, he'd write on it, "Oh, this is Miss Pac-Man," and he'd put it up on the wall. Here's a lamb chop. Here's Bigfoot. And this is
So
a
if you come
sawmill
and
shop
watch,
full of all
if you
these.
come and
Nice.
watch a sawmill demo, you'll see some of Dan's old things, and that was probably my inspiration, maybe.
Yeah.
But so we've got art on the wall, and maybe next year we'll advertise it a little heavier and we brought in. One of the things that I don't know that much about in terms of wood is petrified wood. And one of our teacher friends is really into the rock club and doing all sorts of stuff. So he came in and did a whole presentation for us on petrified wood, and he makes some neat pieces. So those are some other things that you can get at the store. It's really kind of interesting to learn about stuff that we don't know that much about.
That is neat. My final question is your hat available for purchase, or is that a one?
What am I wearing?
Wow, nice hat.
Oh yeah, we have. So we have several. We have some that say hardwood, no pill required.
Yeah.
Yeah, and hardwood,
And we also
easy
have
prices.
this. We also have the standard just
just
Goodwood
Goodwood
logo.
logos.
People
Yeah,
who
you can
want-
get these at the store.
It'll say
Okay.
Great Falls, Montana, so you can get a Great Falls, Montana souvenir, and
Cool.
with or without the hardwood jokes.
I mean,
But I mean, why would you want to?
why would you skip the
exactly
hardwood
that
jokes?
opportunity right there?
And those are made locally too.
Yeah.
nice.
Our
Shining Mountain.
friend Sandy at Shining Mountain Images makes all of our
Cool.
hats for us, so that's cool.
Well, thank you for finally showing up on this podcast.
Thank you for pursuing us. We're excited to have come, and it's great.
really
We
fun.
really appreciate all of the things that you two do to make sure people know how great our town is. Because
It's a damn great town.
It is.
Yeah.
It's
You know what I love about here? You're just a few minutes from anything.
base
Yeah.
camp.
Yeah, it's a great base camp. You can, if you want to go to Yellowstone, it's a couple hours. You want to go up to glaciers, just a few
I
hours. You
moved
want to
to-
go hiking or fishing or
I
whatever.
moved to Montana in 1995, and when I moved here, everybody wanted to know what Montana was like, and I was like, well, if you go in 3 directions, you're in the mountains. If you go in the 4th direction, you're heading back to North Dakota.
Right.
Nobody wants to go that way.
But this is to me, it's the most hidden gem in the whole state, and I
Totally
I
agree.
love being here and being from here. So
We agree.
Especially this time of year.
Oh,
I just love it when everything's
Yeah.
pretty well green now.
June's a great
Leaves are-
time.
June, yeah. My grass is looking nearly
Yeah.
perfect.
We didn't even coach them on what to say. They just did it.
well, when you associate with amazing people,
That's
you
true.
don't have to
You don't
coach
have
them.
to. They just do it.
Well,
Oh,
and if
you
you
know
give
what?
them the disclaimers beforehand.
true.
You know what I saw that I thought I want to check out?
Yeah.
So it was an ad. I don't know if it was an ad or it was in the paper or something. But is there like a kayak kiosk down by the river? Is that what I saw? Did I hear that right?
Yes, there
You could, like,
is.
Shannon, would you like to
How
share?
does that work?
I will take that. So my husband and I are the owners of the company that
Are
bought
you
that there.
serious?
So yeah, seriously. I can answer your questions for you.
Oh
Yeah.
man!
And we'll have an episode about it soon, probably as well. But,
I saw that.
yes.
That is super cool.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you think it's the majority of people who are really excited about it. So,
I thought, what a fun way. I don't have a kayak, but I jump in a kayak. Is it something you like use your debit card, check out a thing? So it's like the Bird scooters. You scan a QR code or download the app, and it's all taken care of in there. It unlocks the little locker. You pull the kayak out. It comes with a paddle and life jacket, and you just tootle around that West Bank area and bring it back. Is it like on a chip? So if you went too far, it'd say.
Well, it doesn't have a buzzer, but there are disclaimers on there that we just say we recommend turning around at the bridges.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
really
and then when
cool.
you return it and
idea.
you get everything back in there, lock it up, you're charged.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you lose
is it like a per
or
hour thing? Or?
Yeah, so you get two. We figured 2 hours was a good time frame to tootle around, so it's $25 for 2 hours. And if you go over that, there's a kind of a minute by minute charge.
Today would be a great day to do it. There's zero wind out there.
Yeah.
It's just gorgeous.
Don't say that too loud.
And you wouldn't. Well, this podcast isn't coming out then, but also not very much sun, so that you aren't being baked alive either.
I got up this morning and thought, boy, I should be golfing now, but I got to go do this podcast.
Oh, man, we're just keeping you from everything.
Well, you wouldn't want to take your hardwood out in this weather because it would just get so wet.
I know. I hate it when my hardwood gets wet.
It swells up.
It's not
really
usable
causes
for a
some
while.
problems. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
So thank you again for all of your time. Thanks for being part of our Great Falls community, doing amazing things and always looking at ways to do more fun things with hardwood. And folks, you can find them when you're here in town. We promote their events as they happen. It's really a fun experience to go to an urban sawmill. So put it on your list.
Absolutely.
And until we see your bright, smiling, happy, healthy face in our fine, fine city, we hope you are creating amazing memories with your friends and family wherever you might be. See you soon.
We're No Dam Experts is the recorded claims from Great Falls, Montana, covering what you need to know about this amazing damn town. Damn, that felt good.